So John Campbell, so they're talking about blood clots that they never saw before. Embalmers are seeing them in funeral homes. They're seeing blood clots because you have to. So here, anyway, here's John Campbell, and here's what he has to say.
It really is like something out of a low-grade novel, Neil, isn't it? You've got this new, or apparently completely new pathology being found in dead bodies around the world. And we know that these have been found, these strange, mysterious, long, rubbery white clots have been found in bodies in the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada.
This is the stuff they're pulling out of people's veins. That never happened before.
Was this the Andromeda strain?
This is happening. Watch this.
New Zealand, Australia. Now, I've actually heard about these some time ago, but I didn't realize how abundant they were. And then I was interviewing Major Tom Haviland, who's a data analyst in the States. And he's actually reached out to 269 embalmers with an average of 15 years experience each, embalming about 100 bodies a year on average per person. And in the year 2023, 73% of these embalmers have observed these strange, white, stringy, rubbery clots. Really quite incredible. And if you take into account the embalmers that didn't see any, it was still in 20% of the dead bodies. And it seems to be pretty similar in the United States and in the United Kingdom. And we really don't know what these are. These are a new pathology. And as you said in the introduction, this is real. It's not a bad story.
I like how he says, and we really don't know what these are.
I just thank God I got all 8 of my boosters.
Me too, to protect me.
To protect me from that horrible,
clots that can be an inch long or can be up to 30 inches long are there and have been pulled out of the arterial systems and the venous systems of dead bodies. And there's some anecdotal reports of them being pulled out of living bodies by surgeons as well. But we know for sure in about 20% of dead bodies. And these didn't occur prior to 2020. So previously they'd never heard of. In 2020, some people saw very small numbers, but then lots in 2021, 2022, 2023.
As someone immersed in the medical world, the medical fraternity, do you get a sense that anyone anywhere is putting serious consideration into all of the possible explanations for where something new has appeared in the last handful of years?
Not really. I don't really get that impression, Neil. And in fact, the way that postmortems are done, well, firstly, there's fewer postmortems done in the United Kingdom at the moment, and I believe in the United States. But the way they're done, you take out blocks of organs and don't really analyze the vascular system in that much detail. And one of the undertakers, as we was talking to on this, he'd actually got a body that had been postmortemed, autopsied, came back into his facility. He was trying to embalm this body because relatives wanted viewings. And as he was he was looking at the body and he couldn't get the embalming fluid around the body. And he pulled out a 30-inch clot from the femoral artery in the leg. It really is quite incredible. The big question, of course, is when did these clots form? Were they forming or starting to form in the months, weeks, hours before death? Is it a peri-death phenomena? Is it a post-mortem only phenomena? It does appear that there are some cases where these occurred in life. But either way, it doesn't matter. I've talked to about 20 doctors around the world now, including 3 or 4 medical professors, a couple of pathologists and many doctors and physicians and surgeons, and they'd never heard of this. This does appear to be a genuinely new pathology.
John, bear with me while I involve Tonya, who's in the studio with me. What do you think, Tonya? You look at a sudden emergence of a new medical phenomenon.
Climate change.
Global phenomenon.
And what have
I'm going to say it's people watching TV late at night. That's what causes this.
What are the rates in the countries that didn't use the safe, effective vaccine? Probably the highest.
I don't know. We'll have to look.
If I had to bet, I'll bet you the key is going to be you had 8 booster shots to keep you safe. And all these, we tried to warn you, mask up, get a booster. You don't want to have these effects of COVID that could lead to these crazy clots. Yeah.
I like to speculate.
Well, what have we done differently globally that we haven't done before 2020, 2021?
Gender-affirming care?
We all know what it could well be. And yet we are restricted from saying out loud what we truly believe it to be. Because we don't live in a free world anymore. What's the big thing that we've done different? We all know it.
John, how does it feel to be operating in a world where speculating about things that appear quite obvious is somehow forbidden ground? You know, this is the new reality for the likes of us.
It's rather frustrating. I mean, in the 1950s and early 1960s, Austin Bradford Hill and Richard Doll believed that lung cancer might be caused by cigarette smoking. And in 1965, Austin Bradford Hill came out with a set of criteria where we can adjudicate these sort of things. And we have these criteria. We have the pathologists. We have the histologists. We have the cytologists. We could analyze this properly. We could use these Bradford Hill criteria. Is there a correlation? How big is that correlation? Is there consistency between different countries? Are there other possible explanations? Does a particular cause follow a particular cause, is the effect come after the cause and not the other way around? And this is clearly an effect of something. Is there this temporal correlation? Is there a biological gradient? Are there plausible mechanisms? Is there coherence? Is there experimental evidence? Is there analogy? And potentially, is there reversibility? We know all these things. We could do all these things, work out what the heck is going on here. And it really seems strange that this isn't all over the medical literature as a brand new pathology.
So the bigger point almost is that not that this is happening, but to me, the bigger point is that this isn't the front page news. This isn't being talked about on the cable news or ABC or Nightline or 60 Minutes. It's not the front page of the New York Times and the Washington Post. No one's talking about it. Jimmy. That's what makes it super, super suspicious that it's not being talked about in the news. The news, which is funded by Big Pharma.
Jimmy, I got no less than 4 requests. The New York Post, Dan Abrams show, one in Seattle that I called in and did, about the club that canceled me, Dave Smith, Louis J. Gomez. Yeah. No less than 4.
But nobody's requesting...
If I even brought this up, I should have brought it up. They hang up real quick on the phone. Because that's what... That bullshit that I, as a joke, just to, hey, look at this thing. News people like, hey, I heard this thing's really catching on, this idiotic thing about stupid Seattle. That's just a joke. I'll bet this could be another example of cancel culture. Well, how about we talk about this thing and then we see how cancel culture works? Because I'll bet there's going to be a lot of it going around. If you were to bring up long vein spiders they're pulling out of people that came out of nowhere. I want to clear this up so we can exonerate the safe, effective vaccine as soon as possible. That's what I'm worried about.
Me too.
Will someone think about the vaccine?
So that's the thing that's suspicious. They're not. You have to go to places like this show or his show. What's his name? Neil Oliver. You have to go to or John Campbell's show.
You got people that,
and then you have to talk about it, and you have to talk about it in metaphors, and you have to talk about it like with a wink, because you can't say what's really on your mind, and that just it's maddening that this is the world we live in right now, and nobody's got a problem with it except us, except people like us. And I talk about this to other people, and they've never heard of it. And you know why? Because it's not on the news. It's not in the newspaper.
Well, they also don't watch the news.
As Bill Maher would say, it's not in the paper. I saw it in the paper. In the paper. That's what Bill Maher says. It's not. They even talk about. At least Bill Maher was better on the vaccine and better on mandates
because he's a very selfish person who's into granola hippie shit and PETA.
Well, for whatever reason, he was
self-serving, and so he can see how it's crazy to do that because he doesn't trust stuff. Because he's a single bachelor with a great body who's still out there fucking, and he doesn't get why fat people can eat all this crap, and so he's health conscious. And people that are health conscious really do their own research, and they think it's weird when you tell them not to. So kudos to Bill Maher and the thing he cares about personally.
So to me, that's the thing that's most suspicious is that it's not talked about in the news. This isn't front page news. And when you hear about it, like, it sounds crazy. You go, what are they? Are these guys crazy?
Jimmy, I can't tell people stories because they think I'm crazy.
Yes, I know.
Unless I can hold my phone like the Libs a TikTok chick.
Yes.
And go, look, I'm not going to tell you because you're going to call me crazy because it is crazy what I'm saying to you.
Right.
And then they can look at it and they go, now this is 4 times this happened to me. Yeah, man, I just want to keep my head down and go to work. Okay, we'll get another booster to protect against those weird vein aliens that suddenly have appeared.
I bring it up. I'm in a dentist office, and I bring up, hey, have you heard about excess deaths? No. They say no. Like, you haven't heard of it? Really? You're in the medical profession. You had to have heard of excess deaths. I'm putting a lot of my money, my retirement money, into precious metals, gold and silver. Why? Because lots of people I trust with money, Max Kaiser's one of them. He's a big Bitcoin guy, and he told me gold is a good hedge against inflation, and gold is a good hedge against the stock market. And so did Carol Roth said that. And then also, who's the guy who wrote the book from Maui, my friend? Why am I blanking on his name? Ed Dowd. So they all said this, so I'm with them. And So I'm putting that into this. And I decided to partner with our sponsor to do this, Colonial Metals Group. They're helping me set up a secure self-directed IRA where I have access to my assets no matter what the stock market and no matter what the government's doing. So let a team of experts at Colonial Metals Group help you protect your family's future. We've put together a special offer for our audience. Get this offer. Listen to this. You click on the link in the description below or call a special 800 number and you'll receive a safe and up to $10,000 in free silver. Then the number to call is 888-910-1419. 888-910-1419 or go to colonialsmetalgroup.com/Jimmy-Dore-show. Hey, come see us live on tour in Los Angeles, Palm Springs, Stockholm, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Berlin, Copenhagen, Oslo, Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Cortland, New York, Oakmont, Pennsylvania, right outside Pittsburgh, El Paso, and San Antonio, Texas. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.